5 players Liverpool should sign this summer. Arne Slot has all the tools to succeed as Jurgen Klopp's heir. The Dutchman is taking over a young squad full of potential. But does that mean Liverpool should skip this summer transfer window without looking for new players to strengthen their team? Absolutely not. Despite having excellent players covering all areas, there are still some improvements needed to give the new boss every chance to succeed. That's why in today's video, we're going to highlight 5 players the Reds should sign this summer. From potential regular starters to those who can add valuable squad depth, the club needs to address current gaps while also planning for the future. So hit those like and subscribe buttons and let's jump straight into this. Let's start with a position many of us are eager to see strengthened, the number 6. Yes, both Wataru Endo and Stefan Bajcetic are still around. So why would the club need a new holding midfielder? Well, let us explain. Wataru Endo is approaching his 32nd birthday next year, and with the intense rhythm of the Premier League, you can't expect him to be a regular starter. He wasn't even brought in to start consistently like he did last year, but his age isn't the only factor. Arne Slot's favourite formation is the 4-2-3-1, and based on how he deployed his players at Feyenoord, he will most likely use a double pivot in the middle of the park. Both Mats Wieffer and Quinten Timber played this role, covering spaces behind and tracking runners, whilst also impacting the attacking phase by making runs into the half spaces and arriving late in the box. This is where Wataru Endo's abilities might come into question. He lacks the necessary creativity in the final third. Not only that, but in Slot's double pivot system, a player needs to be on the move constantly for the full 90 minutes, something Endo might struggle with, despite his great engine. For Bajcetic, there is no doubt the Spaniard has the talents to become a regular starter under Slot. He also has the technical ability and defensive nous to perform as one of Slot's pivots. But do we really expect the youngster to immediately become a starter after such a long layoff? That would be too much pressure on Bajcetic and could cause further issues with his past injuries. So, who should the club target for this position? There are plenty of names linked with the club so far this summer: Atlanta's Ederson, Benfica's João Neves, and Porto's Alan Varela. But these players will probably cost the Reds a fortune, especially with Benfica setting a £100 million price tag on Neves. So we have another obvious choice in mind that we already mentioned earlier. It's Slot's own man, Mats Wieffer. Wieffer was signed by Slot and his Feyenoord staff for practically nothing from the Dutch second division just before the 22-23 season. It's safe to say his impact was immediate and impressive, playing a key role in Feyenoord's championship win in his first year with the club. Now, we all love Wataru Endo's relentlessness on the pitch, so imagine having a taller version of the Japanese. Whether he's positioned as a deep-lying 6 or a more advanced 8, he is constantly on the move, aggressively making tackles. This season he's ranked in the 96th percentile for defensive actions among all players in his position in Europe's top 7 leagues. He specialises at intercepting play in the middle of the park and interrupting the opposition's flow. In the Eredivisie, he's 3rd among midfielders for recovering loose balls, with an impressive tally of 216. So, what makes him different from Endo, if he's all about patrolling in midfield? Offensively, Wieffer's also made his mark. Since his move to Feyenoord, he's netted 9 goals and contributed 11 assists. His passing skills are top-notch too. Wieffer has a knack for distributing passes accurately from the centre to the half spaces, moving the play forward effectively. He's also adept at making those diagonal switches, ranking 2nd among Feyenoord players for the most play switches, with 10, just behind the left-back Hartman. You can also see how highly he ranks among Eredivisie midfielders when it comes to forward passes, both volume and accuracy. As we discussed earlier, Slot likes his double pivot players to push forward and join the attack, and that's exactly what Wieffer provides. With 4.93 offensive duels per 90 minutes and a success rate of 46.15%, Wieffer ranks highly compared to other Eredivisie midfielders. Remember, we're talking about the deepest lying player in Slot's system, even compared to Quinten Timber. Wieffer is currently valued at around €27 million, and with clubs like Atletico Madrid and Barcelona showing interest, his stock is definitely rising. But for Liverpool, we believe a bid between €35 million and €40 million might just clinch the deal. That's a bargain compared to what Benfica and Porto are asking for João Neves and Alan Varela. With a partner like McAllister in the middle of the park Wieffer can bring the needed balance to Slot's midfield. So, do you think Wieffer should be the club's priority for the number 6 position, given his familiarity with Slot's tactics and all his physical and technical attributes? Or do you have another player in mind for this role? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Now, moving on to the second key position Liverpool needs to address, the centre-back, or more precisely, the left-sided centre-back. Think about it for a moment. When was the last time Liverpool had a left-footed defender within their squad? Van Dijk, who's naturally right-footed, has been playing on the left-hand side of the defensive line in recent years. Sure, we're not saying he's playing out of position, but if you think about it, wouldn't playing on his weaker side kind of obstruct him when he has the ball at his feet? Especially with Arne Slot emphasising maintaining possession and circulating the ball in the back line. One more key point to mention is that Van Dijk will be 35 in 2 years, and it only makes sense for the club to start searching for a replacement, as much as it hurts to say. And so our pick for this position can only be a player who literally stunned Italy with Bologna last season, Riccardo Calafiori. The 22-year-old, standing at 6'2", excels at playing both centre-back and left-back. He's tall but surprisingly quick, with the ability to bomb forward and also track back to cover spaces in behind. With 7.43 loose ball recoveries per 90 minutes, Calafiori ranks in the 98th percentile among centre-backs in the top 5 European leagues. This shows his excellent ability to sweep the area and deny opponents any opportunities to exploit spaces in behind. What's even more impressive is his ability to read the pitch and his impeccable timing for tackling and intercepting. He ranks in high percentiles for passes blocked and interceptions, highlighting his defensive prowess. Now, would you believe us if we told you that we still haven't mentioned the player's best ability? Yes, not only is he a great defender, but he's also one of the best ball-playing centre-backs from last season. You can see here how highly he ranks in forward passes and carrying the ball, largely due to how he was deployed by Thiago Motta. The Italian mainly played as a left-sided centre-back with the freedom to push into midfield to form a double pivot. Tall, athletic, and equally adept at defending and progressing the ball, he has a significant influence on the build-up phase. If that isn't the definition of a modern fullback, then we don't know what is. Sure, you're probably thinking that Juventus have already advanced their talks to sign the player. However, recent reports suggest that Bologna are not happy with the old lady's offer. Yes, his value might rise due to his performances in the Euros, but we believe he can be the perfect future replacement for Van Dijk, and also be capable of joining the current starting lineup almost immediately. So what do you think? Are you impressed with Calafiori's performances during these Euros? Is he your preferred option, or do you have someone else in mind? Don't hesitate to share your thoughts with us in the comments below. Speaking of planning the squad for the future and making appropriate replacements starting now, we're considering another defender to add to our list, especially with recent reports linking him to our club. Van Dijk might not be the only legend we bid farewell to in the next 2 or 3 years, because Andrew Robertson is already 30 years old. How time flies, right? We're not saying the Scotsman will lose his place in the starting lineup under Slot, but will he be able to play consistently with his age, all the years of Klopp's heavy metal football, and his recurring injuries last season? The club's second choice for the left-back position, Kostas Tsimikas, hasn't quite managed to secure his spot either, especially with Joe Gomez often outshining him when playing on the left last season. Therefore, to properly plan for the future, the club should be looking for a young left-back who can slowly be integrated into the first 11 to take the torch from Robbo. As we mentioned earlier, our pick for this position has recently been linked with Liverpool, and that is Wolverhampton's Ryan Aït-Nouri. At 22 years old, there's no better Premier League proven left back who can join the Reds and perfectly fit Arne Slot's philosophy. Let us tell you why. Ryan is incredibly versatile, a trait the new manager loves in his players. The Algerian is capable of playing as a traditional left back, a left wing back, a winger on either side of the pitch, and even as a left-sided number 10. One might wonder how he is capable of performing in all these roles. Well, it's his technical ability and comfort playing with both feet that allows him to excel in different areas across the pitch. With 2.4 successful take-ons per 90 minutes, it's evident that he knows how to manipulate the ball to get past players. This technical ability also makes him a cheat code, especially in the tight spaces where he can retain the ball under pressure. Ryan also has a knack for advancing the ball through his dynamic runs down the left flank, often creating scoring opportunities. Impressively, he ranks in the 99th percentile among fullbacks for creating goals by drawing fouls, averaging 0.13 per game. Defensively, Aït-Nouri might be one of the most underrated players in this aspect. He has excellent anticipation and awareness in 1v1 situations, which is why he ranks highly for tackling volume and success rate. Ryan Aït-Nouri is currently valued at €32 million with 2 years remaining on his contract, and let's be honest, such a deal makes so much sense. Aït-Nouri can rotate with Robertson for the left back position with the potential to replace him in the future. Additionally, his versatility allows him to be used in various positions, providing Arne Slot with the flexibility he desires. Now, Aït-Nouri isn't the only left back the club can consider. There's Milos Kerkez of Bournemouth and Anthony Robinson of Fulham, both of whom can be excellent additions to the club. So again, make sure to let us know who your pick is. We talked about the potential for replacement for Van Dijk and the potential heir to Andrew Robertson, but what about the Egyptian king Mo Salah? At 32 years old, the forward began to show his age last season with a number of subpar performances for Jurgen Klopp's side, despite bagging an impressive 28 goals and assists in the Premier League. Whether it's down to being overplayed or simply getting older, we can't really expect Salah to keep winning us games single-handedly like he did for many years. Now, we're not saying that Mo should be sold or that he's about to lose his starting position. That would be ridiculous. All we're suggesting is that the club should be looking for a future replacement for the Egyptian legend. So, who should the club go after? Well, there's West Ham's Kudus, Napoli's Kvara, and Athletic Bilbao's Nico Williams. However, these players will cost the club a fortune and should only be targeted if Mo Salah is confirmed to be leaving the club. That's why we have a different player in mind, one who is eager to leave his club this season, so a loan deal made permanent in the future can be struck this summer. We're talking about Xavi Simons, who has already informed PSG of his willingness to leave the club this summer. Xavi can play across the front line, centrally and on both flanks. With 10 goals and 13 assists for RB Leipzig last season, he proved to be a threat in the final third thanks to his top ball striking ability and creative flair. And if you're not convinced, let us tell you that the Dutchman has averaged 6.07 shot creating actions per 90 minutes, putting him in the 96th percentile among attacking midfielders and wingers in the top 5 European leagues. Not only that, but his eagerness to always drive the ball forward perfectly suits Arne Slot's philosophy. Simons ranks in the 99th percentile for carries into the penalty area, with a successful take-on rate of 53.5%. His creative levels are off the charts, averaging 2.71 key passes per 90 minutes. The 21-year-old is currently valued at around £70 million. Sure, it's a hefty price, but as we mentioned earlier, Simons can join on a loan deal with Salah staying at the club. Next summer, with the Dutchman's contract expiring, a permanent deal can be made possible if his initial loan is a success. And for our final pick, it's another player who can be a replacement for Mo Salah, but also has the qualities to fill in at the number 9 position. If there's one player whom Slot and Edwards can unite behind, it might be Bryan Mbeumo. Surprised? Well, let us explain. Mbeumo has repeatedly appeared in the data over the years as a stylistic match for Salah. Yes, he might not be the most glamorous of names, but the Cameroonian ticks all the boxes of a Liverpool winger. Despite missing a significant chunk of last season's campaign, the 24-year-old still ranked highly compared to other wingers and strikers. He scored 9 goals and provided 6 assists in 25 Premier League games. But it's his underlying numbers that are impressive. With 0.34 non-penalty XG, Mbeumo ranks in the 85th percentile, showing his ability to get on the end of dangerous chances and occupy threatening areas. He also averaged 1.47 key passes per 90 minutes, indicating that he isn't lacking in the creative department. Again, Mbeumo might not be a glamorous target, but if the price is realistic, then the Cameroonian can add much needed depth for the club both on the wing and as a striker. Not to mention his top finishing ability, ending last season with a 17% conversion rate, something that the Reds have struggled with recently. So, there you have it. Wieffer, Calafiori, Aït-Nouri, Simons and Mbeumo are our top 5 picks for players Liverpool should target this summer. Sure, it wouldn't be realistic to expect the Reds to sign all of these players, but addressing the current needs of the squad while planning for the future will be crucial for Arne Slot's success at Anfield, and so getting players of these profiles will certainly help the Dutchman. Now, we want to hear from you. Do you agree with our list? If not, share yours in the comments and tell us why. We'd love to engage in this conversation with you. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons for more Liverpool related content.